All right, let's roll. A Labor Day edition of the Monday Night Meltdown. The pimps, the players, the hustlers, the people that bust them, and everybody else in between. Montreal to New York, California to Costa Rica, Germany, Mexico, and Australia. I know we got viewers all over the world. So we met a lot of you last week in Las Vegas. Feels like it was like a month ago already. I want to go back to Vegas to cash the contest. We're in the Golden Nugget contest and we're in the Super contest. So hopefully we can cash in one of the two. We're ready to roll. So we've got college football going on right now. There's good news, bad news. Good news is we're on Virginia Tech. Bad news is we're also on the over. Fuck. These college football totals, man. The games you think are going to be low scoring end up being higher scoring. That stupid game last night really pissed me off. That Miami LSU game, the total was 49. I never bet unders. It lands on 50. Fuck. You guys know too, and a lot of you know this already. But every time I play basketball under, I always lose by like a 3-point shot at the buzzer or like 1 point or a half point. So lo and behold, last night, my first under, we were just talking about last week. Don't take unders, Morency. You never win when you take unders. We take an under, gets to 50. Yeah, we're gonna need FSU to get something going here if the total is gonna hit, which I don't think it will, to be honest. And I'm not really even sure if Florida State can get anything going here. We'll get you an in-game number. But it's NFL time. The National Football League is set to return in a matter of days. Big man on campus is, and Donnie Right-Side's Philadelphia Eagles. First ones out of the gate this Thursday. Nick Foles will be the starting quarterback. And listen, we were on the Philadelphia Eagles in the Super Bowl with Nick Foles, but I think the Nick Foles Cinderella story is over, all right? I'm not really good with fairy tales and all that type of stuff. I never really was told them as a kid. Never really read them. But I get the gist of it about Cinderella. She goes to the ball. Once it's midnight, you know, that glass slipper. Cinderella wasn't partying at 4 a.m. still. Her night ended at midnight. Nick Foles' night is over, all right? Nick Foles ain't coming in and just, you know, tearing it up. He's Nick Foles. Fuck. He had a good game in the Super Bowl. It is what it is. Doesn't mean he's a good quarterback. Guy's been around for, what, 10 years? He's Nick Foles. Where I'm going with this, I'm starting to like the Atlanta Falcons in this game. I wish the point spread was a little bit higher, though. I wish we were getting more points. I wish a lot of things, but, you know, it is what it is, right? We'll run through the National Football League lines, week 1 lines. This football game right now, the in-game total is 46.5. And Virginia Tech are minus 380 on the money line. You can get Florida State. If you think Florida State are going to come back and win, it's plus 290. And Florida State are plus 7.5 right now. Now, ideally, sure, we'd be getting 5 or 6 or something, but hey, they're not going to be giving money away. We'll see what the final spread is. Now everyone knows Nick Foles is playing, right? He's officially been announced as the starting quarterback. Dear God, it's down to 2.5 right now. It's down to 2.5. The Philadelphia Eagles, this is the lowest that I can recall in recent memory of any. It's the lowest I can recall of any opening game Super Bowl defending champion. Normally, they're bigger favorites than this. It's essentially a pick 'em almost. I mean, the Philadelphia Eagles are minus 2.5, but it's minus 135 on the money line only. It's pretty low, actually. I mean, the Atlanta Falcons are only playing plus 115. So this is what we talk about all the time, actually. And turn fucking stupid play for Virginia Tech. We talk about this often. Don't make the mistake. I saw a couple of weeks ago, a lot of you in the chat did make the mistake where you're in a preseason game, it was a 1 or 2 point game, and you're all bitching, you laid the points. Like in this game, the point spread is now irrelevant. And what are you going to do with 2.5 points? Basically, I guess you could buy a half point, make it 3. But so if you like the Philadelphia Eagles, you don't lay the 2.5. You just play the minus 135 on a money line. And if you like the Atlanta Falcons, you do not play the money line because it's only plus 115. You buy it up a half point up to 3. Jackson's going backwards. You could have gotten the Falcons with plus 4.5, 5 a couple of weeks ago or last week even, but I didn't realize the number had plummeted this much. I appreciate that, Hyman. Thanks for watching. We'll be back next Saturday as well, and we'll be on tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. So in other words, we'll be with you until midnight here tonight. What's up, David Hutton? Yeah, we'll be on at 9 a.m. tomorrow morning with Carton and Friends. Cinderella was also a rock band. That is correct. Cinderella is also a rock band. Speaking of rock bands, I tweeted this out earlier in the day. It's funny. I was looking out my window, my hotel here, and I know rock, right? So, so last night I noticed like 8 tour buses pulling in, and I knew it was somebody. Basically, if it was like, if it was Avenged Sevenfold or something, it would be like 3 buses, or if it was Blink 182, you know what I mean? Or Panic at the Disco or something like that. There'd be a couple of buses, but there wouldn't be like this mass amount of buses. So I sort of knew right away by seeing the buses. I was like, that's a band. Fuck, I don't know who it is, whatever. I guess I said, I'll probably see them around, whoever it is, or I'll be able to tell from the roadies. If it's a bunch of punk rock kids, you know what I mean? It's Offspring or something, So like all roadies for different bands, they all have a look for like different styles. I was in the music business a long time, so I sort of saw the roadies and I couldn't tell. I was like, fuck. I was like, the roadies are all older, so it's probably a bigger, older rock band. And lo and behold, just by coincidence today, I happened to be looking out my window at like 10 in the morning or whatever it was, 1 in the afternoon, whatever it was this morning. I don't look out my window that often. And we'll get to that in a minute. It actually creeps me out still. It's weird. Like New York doesn't freak me out at all. Like I'm not nervous or scared or anything like that in the slightest. But I'm not going to lie. There's certain like landmarks in this city that always freak me out. Like I told you guys, I don't like the Statue of Liberty. Like I don't like looking at the Statue of Liberty. And the World Trade Center freaks me out a bit too, to be honest. And you can't make this up, man. Like when I put my head down on my pillow, when I look out the window, I have the World Trade Center like right outside, like fucking right there. And I can't help but just see planes and shit. Like every time I look, like it's to the point where I don't look. Like I have the blind right now closed. Like most people want the New York City view. I have the blind closed, so I don't see that. I don't see it. Like it freaks me out. If I fucking wake up in the morning, it's the first thing I see. I'm like, oh God, it's a fucking. I don't know. I'm going to find out tomorrow, actually. I know. I got to get out of a hotel. I can't be here much longer. So, yes. You know what screwed me is the fact that you know what screwed me was the fact that it was fucking Labor Day. So it's funny, like I told you the other night, they're like, for an extra $500, you can get the view of New York, like at the condo. I was like, nah, I don't need it. At first, I was like, oh, yeah, I want the view. Now I'm like, nah, I don't need to be fucking spooked out every fucking day. Let me just look at the fucking trees. I got trees like on the other side. Let me look at the trees, all right? Yeah, and it's the anniversary coming up in the next week, actually, David Hutton. So, yeah, it'll be an emotional. I've never been to the memorial, actually. My condolences to your friends, David Hutton. I've never been to the memorial there. I'd like to go, actually. I know it'll be pretty heavy, but you got to pay tribute to these people. You can't forget them. Yeah, it's terrible. Real tragedy that day. Real tragedy. All right, so as I was saying, so I look out my window. No, Javier Castro. I will not go to any Mets games. It's funny though. I was on Twitter a couple of weeks, about a month ago, and there was like a sports reporter guy. I don't know who it was. I don't follow him. I just saw the tweet. It was funny though. I guess the guy was going to cover the Mets game, and he got into a taxi. And he told the guy, "Take me to the city field where the Mets play." The taxi driver said to him, "Are you sure?" And the taxi driver said, "Are you sure? There's a lot of things you can do in New York on a Sunday afternoon." And the guy was like, "Yeah, no, I got to go. Take me to the Mets game." I'm sure the Mets are very happy the taxi drivers are discouraging people from going to the game. You sure you want to go? So, so let me get this rock store story out of the way. That's how I fucking bounce around and I forget what I'm talking about. I know you're all dying to know. So yeah, I'm looking out the window this morning, and boom, I see the dude from ZZ Top. So my spider sense was pretty bang on. I knew it was a big rock band. I knew it was an older band. I knew they had money. No one, like, they got literally eight buses. I counted them. There's eight. Like, you need to be a very big band to have eight tour buses. These tour buses are all very expensive. They're expensive to operate. Like, it's not a cheap thing. Like, most bands will crank fucking 16 roadies into like 2, 3 buses, you know, and then, the band has a bus. Some bigger bands, like the sort of the star, will have their own bus, and then, it's different. If you're mega like Beyonce and shit, she's rarely on a bus, right? She'll just fly. She's got her own jet and shit. But most bands have buses. But like ZZ Top probably all have their own bus. That's probably the deal. There's three of them in the band. They probably all have their own individual, so they're not living with anyone when they're on the road. They have their own bus. I've got no buses. We got no buses. No, we got no buses. Um, no, he's not that sharp dressed, to be honest. He's actually wearing. I just saw him in a bar right now because I did a double take. I was like, man, how many guys with beards are there? So I went. I was walk right past him. I looked, and lo and behold, he's even wearing like a fucking Texas jacket. It's like a taco bar or something. He had some like Texas. It was him. I just got chicken wings at the bar. I was sitting next to him for a minute. I didn't say anything to him though. The hotel bar was packed. It was all like the roadies and everything. But I haven't seen anyone else in a band, just him. I saw him earlier today, and he's in the bar right now. He's not getting smashed. They're drinking, but it's all kind of calm. No one really knows who he is. There's a few tourists that are looking at him a bit. They can sort of tell he's rich and shit, but What's up, Wally George? For the record, I looked it up on ZZ Top's website just to see if they're playing or anything, and they're not. So I don't know what the hell is going on. Who knows? Fuck. This is New York, right? So there's fucking probably about 50 mega bands spread out at hotels at this point in time right now in this city. At least I know I'm doing all right if I'm in the same hotel as ZZ Top. I've been in worse. You know, the thing is, too, I might have to get an Airbnb for like a week. I don't know. I'm going to find out tomorrow more, and I'm going to have to figure something out here. It's kind of stressing me out. I'm going to have to figure something out. So this place is actually just as cheap as an Airbnb. Airbnb's not cheap here. All right, so as far as this game is concerned, the thing that surprises me the most is Florida State's ineptness on offense. I think it's a discombobulation. Listen, Virginia Tech's defense is playing well, but the play calling for Florida State has been very, very erratic in this game. Like, they're all over the place. Like, they don't have a plan, it seems. You know, like, we'll get to Michigan. Michigan had a plan. It was a bad plan, but they had a plan. It was a bad plan. But FSU doesn't. You know, it's like FSU, like, they run the ball a little bit and it's successful, but then they'll throw a bomb. They continuously put themselves in, like, bad passing. Like, every time you look up, FSU is like 3rd and 12, 3rd and 15, fucking 3rd and 9. Like, they're not putting the players in a position to succeed. And what's amazing to me, it's only 17-3. It's like they're still in the game. And FSU can run the football. That number 4 kid is fucking good. That freshman out of Virginia. You know, he pops one for 37 yards. They don't give him the ball again. You know, there's another kid, the running back, the bigger kid. He, you know, number 8 or 9 or whatever, man. He just ran over a bunch of people a couple of minutes ago, you know, and they don't go back to it. It's very, you know, they don't have a plan. Like I said, the play calling is bad. And it's something that I've noticed with college in week 1, you know, specifically in the Michigan game is a good example. Like, Michigan's play calling was beyond bad. Like, it was like Tampa Bay Buccaneer bad. It was bad. Like, Jim Harbaugh, listen, I've been patient with Harbaugh. I haven't really ripped him. I was expecting more and better. But, like, we're going backwards now. Like, that was the worst fucking game that they fucking played under Harbaugh almost, except no, you know. I guess that was like the last fucking 9 of the last 18 fucking games. He's 9-9 now. It's like, it's ridiculous. Fuck. He can't beat a fucking winning team on the road. You know, all this talk about Shea Patterson. All this talk about Shea Patterson. Shea Patterson looked rattled. You didn't give Shea Patterson an opportunity to succeed. That was another thing. Like, you need to put your players in a position to succeed. That's what good coaches do. That's what good coaches do. And you saw early in this football game, you saw very early in the football game that right away, Notre Dame started throwing the ball down the field. They got fucking aggressive. Like, Notre Dame threw a bomb. Like, they were throwing with Winbush, and they caught Michigan off guard with that. So right out of the gate, advantage Notre Dame. And then Notre Dame gets the touchdown right away. Boom, 7-0. Michigan gets the ball, moved it a little bit, first down punts. And it was still 7-0. And there was a 3rd and 2 or a 3rd and 4. Basically, Michigan just kept running the fucking ball up the middle, and it wasn't working. And then Notre Dame gets the ball back and goes all aggressive, running reverses and fucking bombs and shit. Next thing you know, it's 14-0. Michigan gets the ball back, runs the ball up the middle again. It was like Harbaugh was like, well, you know, I'm just going to, you know, don't worry about it. You could feel the atmosphere in the stadium that it was getting away from Michigan in the first 5 minutes. I knew we were fucked right away. Like, I know this football team. Normally I'm like, we'll come back. But I knew we wouldn't. I was like, this is terrible. And when I saw the play calling, I was like, he's fucking, what's he doing? You know, you go back to Harbaugh in the Super Bowl against the Baltimore Ravens with Kaepernick, ironically enough. We'll get to Kaepernick. This whole fucking Kaepernick thing. Like, really? Fucking Nike, fuck, you guys are fucking pricks. And I'm not saying you're pricks for fucking paying Colin Kaepernick like some of these stupid idiots are that are burning shoes, but you guys got to drop this fucking the week that the season kicks off, really. You know, I'm done talking about Kaepernick, fuck. You know, like football starts in 3 days. You know, and back to Kaepernick again. He's been out of the league for 2 years now, man. He doesn't even want to be in the league. He's suing the league. He likes this whole fucking role that he's in right now. But anyways, my whole deal is just I want to talk about the games, right? And you know, it just sort of hijacks the football season again. Like this is, you know, Donald Trump's gonna tweet about it, boycott Nike, I'm sure, and fucking it's already started. You know, the right wing's freaking out. It's constant. Like it was like manufactured here. I know it was Nike's 30th anniversary, so whatever. Fuck, it is what it is. But you know, like I said, the fact that the season starts in 3 days and Kaepernick's the big story here kind of blows. Florida State's just getting fucking drilled. They're a bigger embarrassment than Michigan. It's not a good look for Willie Taggart in his first game. So yeah, there was nothing. There was nothing. There was nothing for Michigan. There was just nothing for Michigan at all. And good point by G Cars. The play calling was bad, and what's crazy is Michigan's defense is supposed to be elite, right? It was the fourth ranked defense in all of college football last year. Everybody was back. That was like what Michigan were going to hang their hat on this year, and their fucking smash mouth defense and Shea Patterson. And Michigan was either number one out play called, where Michigan were on their heels. They didn't really know what was coming next. The players, they didn't. The coaches didn't help the kids. They're kids. They need to be put in position to succeed. So Michigan's coaches didn't put them in a position to succeed. And then secondly, the fucking kids on Michigan, every time they make a stop, they'd fucking hit someone after the play. Fuck. Like you said, G-Cars, the fucking hit to the head was ridiculous. It was like, it was like third down. They would have got the ball back. The kid smacks him in the head. Fuck. There was another one, if you remember. Wimbush, it was 3rd and fucking 18, and he ran for 19 yards. like Michigan's defense looked slow. Like they looked slow next to Notre Dame. They really did. Like every time Notre Dame went for the edge, they got there. Like Wimbush was like running circles around people on Michigan. And then even when they would get them, they'd have a hard time tackling them. They were unprepared. They were sloppy on special teams. I know they had the kickoff return, but that wasn't Harbaugh or the coaching staff. That was 1,000% that kid that just took off through the gap. Again, like the muff shit on the field goal. Like there wasn't one aspect that they were good at. Like they were totally unprepared. That's on the coaching staff. Like penalties, that's on the coaches. Muff stuff, coaches. Like it's just they were unprepared in Michigan. I don't know how you were unprepared for one of their biggest games in recent years. And then Braylon Edwards, former Michigan Wolverine, he was all drunk the other night. And he went off on them. Braylon Edwards went off on Michigan the other night and said Michigan football is trash. He got suspended from the Big Ten Network because he works for the Big Ten Network. And, it's a weird, it is what it is. So, I don't know, like, I don't think they would have suspended him if he just would have said Michigan is trash, but you could kind of tell he was buzzed and shit with his tweets and his language. And I think he was swearing a bit, and he started singling out the kids by name, which you're not supposed to do in college, right? So he basically said, this Ruiz kid sucks. He's fucking costing us. And fucking like Braylon Edwards started like naming names on the offensive line. Like, these kids are getting us killed. And he's like, Harbaugh is overhyped. And he was like, Michigan football sucks. This fucking angers me. And he was just really pissed off, Braylon Edwards. And so Harbaugh's like, come after me. Harbaugh's like, come after me. Don't name the players. Don't call out the kids. And it's like, yeah, don't worry, Harbaugh. We are coming after you. It's like, yeah, we are coming after you. Don't worry about it. Now, listen, how about this? So Harbaugh says, don't blame, you can't blame the kids. I sort of get it in a way, but also, look, the fact of the matter is, can we call them out if they get paid? I saw a thing last year when they were talking about paying players and stuff for the debate, right? And remember, there was like a proposal on the table, like they floated it out there. No, the NCAA was like, no way. But I don't know if it was the players. Someone came up with the ratio of how much money each player would get, like according to the program. And it was pretty nuts. Like, if they paid the players fairly and shit. And I remember kids on Michigan were bitching about it. Kid on Michigan was like, if we were paid, I see that we would get paid $300,000 or $400,000 a year to play here. It's like, kid, fuck, you're not worth $300,000 a year. You know where the dichotomy is with this is the fact that college football brings in so much money, but the fact of the matter is the players aren't that good, right? Like, these players don't deserve $500,000, fuck, to play 10 college football games, 12 games, as if. You want to pay the players. I'm talking about you give them fucking, give them 2,000 a week type shit, 8,000 a month, fuck, or 1,500 a week. Not even 1,000 a week, I'd be happy with. I was never one of these guys who was like, oh yeah, well, let's pay them fucking this much. Half these kids can't even complete a fucking pass. You're gonna pay them $250,000 fucking dollars, you know? Exactly, Pittsburgh Brew. Like, you're a college kid. How much money do you need? All right, I get it. You're a big star. What just happened here? Fuck. Oh, they stuffed them on fucking. They stuffed them. Was that fourth down? Yeah. Well, this could be the game. This is it. But like, what's up, Pittsburgh Brew? Like, Pittsburgh Brew is saying, like, I'd say like $1,000 a week during the season. You don't even get paid for the off season. You know what I mean? Like, so, like you said, 20K. Actually, you're right. I was saying like 50, but I didn't realize. I'm thinking, fuck, they're only there for like fucking 16 weeks or something. Listen, college football is fun, Muhammad. It's a very fun sport, but it's like college. Listen, college football is better than college basketball. I'm not talking about an entertainment standpoint. I'm saying more from a, like, college basketball is pretty bad. There's a lot of bad teams, a lot of bad basketball. There's some bad college football, but then we get into it where there's a lot of bad play calling. And look at FSU, Taggart making a shitload of money here. What's his team doing? Nothing. All these kids on FSU, fuck, they all run their mouths. They want this, they want that. You guys can't even score a touchdown. Maybe if you put up 56 points a week, all right, we'll talk about paying you, all right? I mean, you want to be losing 24 fucking 3 to Virginia Tech at home? Come on. No, we'll see. We'll see. We'll see what the NFL is like. Speaking of the NFL, oh yeah, what's up, Savage Larry? I know they are, David Hutton. I get it, but you know what the thing is? They could put you and me in a Virginia Tech uniform, and these fucking drunk kids are gonna 80,000 people will show up. Listen, I've always wanted to pay the players. I think I hate the NCAA with a passion. Fuck, all right. I would shut the NCAA down. Thank you very much, JN Reports. I look forward to this week doing it again. I don't know if they can get in a game, Dan. They can't even get out of their own end zone. All right, so let's take a look at the NFL numbers again here. Week 1 is arrived. All right, so Thursday night football, we got the Atlanta Falcons. They're getting 2.5 points at the Philadelphia Eagles. Of course, Nick Foles will be the starting quarterback. Now, I've talked about this in the past. Like in the old days, the team that won the Super Bowl usually was overvalued the next game. Like the first game like of the year, the next year, Super Bowl fucking champions are usually overvalued. But the fact is, over like the last 10, 15 years, they always cover. They always cover. But normally it's not 2.5 points. So it's a unique situation here. We talked about this game briefly opening. You know, we know that the Falcons lost to the Eagles last year in the playoffs. And we also know that really the Atlanta Falcons should have beaten them. In fact, like if you look at the Eagles playoff run last year, they beat the Falcons, the Vikings, and the Patriots. And truth be told, the hardest game for them was actually the Falcon game. I mean, people have, people don't remember these things because it doesn't matter. You know, the Eagles won the Super Bowl, right? So people remember the Super Bowl. They're not going to remember the playoff. Now, listen, the Eagles destroyed the Minnesota Vikings. They were like, it was sort of like Notre Dame, Michigan. They were the better team from the fucking opening whistle. Like, they outcoached them, they outplayed them, they outplay called them, they out executed them, they out everything them, right? Like Philadelphia dominated against Minnesota. The Patriot game was kind of back and forth a bit, but really Philadelphia was the better team the whole time. They were the better team in the Super Bowl. There wasn't like a lucky Super Bowl win or anything. They were the better team. But people forget about the Eagles' first playoff game against the Atlanta Falcons, in which Nick Foles wasn't that good, and the Eagles' defense got saved by the fact that Matt Ryan was off. If you recall that football game, Matt Ryan was inaccurate all day. Like early in the game, you had guys open. Like Ryan was just shaky. Like he was throwing wobbly passes. There was no zip on his ball in the game last year in the playoff game. And then even with all that, people forget the Atlanta Falcons had 1st and goal from like inside the 5, if you recall. Like in the last play of the game, right at the end, they threw to Julio Jones. That was the plan, a little rollout. They're going to throw in the end zone, jump ball to Julio Jones. And Julio Jones fell. I remember, like, he fucking slipped. You know, he fell. He got up quickly and shit, but he slipped, and it was discombobulated. He went up and he couldn't get up high enough because he didn't, it was too late since he slipped. He doesn't fall. The Falcons win that game. The Philadelphia Eagle defensive back that was on Jones was like nowhere near as tall as he was. Like Jones was going to get the ball, and Matt Ryan put it where it was supposed to be. I remember it was shaky. I don't know why they didn't run the ball. I remember it was pissing me off. They kept on throwing it like fucking just like Harbaugh did in the Super Bowl there from inside the 5. Teams panic, man. Coaches panic. I remember asking Kyle Turley about that. I said, you're in the trenches. Like, doesn't it piss you off when, you're on the fucking goal line and the coaches keep calling play? See what I'm saying with Florida State's play calling? Like just a random big bomb. Like they have no plan. So I asked Kyle Turley, does it piss you off? And I said, why don't teams run the ball when they're on the 2 and stuff? He said, coaches get nervous. He said, basically, the coaches choke. That's when the coaches choke. The coaches start to panic when they start to get in the 5-yard line. They overthink things, and it's not really the player's fault. Like I said, once again, the coaching in football is the most important out of any other sport. Yeah, good shit, Florida State. You got to stop, and you picked up 2 yards. You got back to your own 2-yard line. This is an abomination. So like football, football, the coaching is everything. So anyways, Julio Jones fell. Where I'm going with this is the Falcons should have beat them, could have beaten them, and they're stewing about it. I know Hamburg. He could have. He almost did, but the rhythm got broken, bro. You know what I mean? The rhythm of the whole play got broken. All right. So the other next game on the board is the Buffalo Bills and the Baltimore Ravens. Nate Peterman has been named starting quarterback for the Buffalo Bills. And Twitter has blown up, of course. Fuck, this game really is pissing me off, too. It's going nowhere, fuck. Like Florida State's offense just can't do anything. So Nate Peterman starts for the Buffalo Bills. I think the spread's a little high here, to be honest. I think there's an overreaction, and I think people think Nate Peterman is worse than he actually is because he played in that one game and he threw 5 interceptions. You can't judge somebody on one game, and you can't judge somebody's entire career on one game and say, "Wow, you threw 5 interceptions in one game, so you can never play again." Look, Nate Peterman beat Deshaun Watson in college. The Pittsburgh Panthers went into Clemson and beat him outright in a high scoring like track meet game where Peterman, I was on Clemson on the money line too. I played it in game, like pick 'em type shit when they were losing in the game in the fourth quarter and it was going back and forth. I was like, Clemson will fucking, they'll win. And I remember watching the game and I was like, who the fuck is this kid? Fuck. I remember he made one play. I was like, what the fuck? And he did it again. I was like, holy fuck, this fucking Peterman kid's killing me. And so I knew about Peterman even before he was on the Buffalo Bills. I knew about Peterman before he was on the Buffalo Bills. I saw him play at Pitt often, and he showed something. Now, if you look at Nate Peterman this year, he is bigger. He's more muscular, so he's rounded out more. He put on weight and shit. You can tell. Yeah, the thing with Peterman is he's incredibly accurate, but his arm strength lacks, and this is where the interceptions come into play. Like he'll float balls. Like he doesn't really have a big zip on the football. He can pinpoint place it, but he doesn't really throw fastballs. Now, Josh Allen had a pretty good camp. But he's not quite ready to throw in there. And I think if the Buffalo Bills offensive line was better, then I would say, just throw fucking Allen in there, right? Whatever. There's never a good time to put him in, but there's never going to be a perfect matchup. But as anyone that paid attention to the Buffalo Bills in the preseason, you saw the Buffalo Bills offensive line was pretty bad. So I think Nate Peterman will surprise people a little bit. It's a tough matchup on the road at Baltimore. I think the number's a little too high from the perspective. I think the number's just a little high from the perspective of the Ravens. I like the Ravens team this year, but should the Ravens be 8-point favorites? 7, they need to win by 8 now, 7.5, right? So should it be that big of favorites? I don't know. I think the Buffalo Bills defense is good. That's the thing. Like the Buffalo Bill defense is very, very, very good. I think like better than people will realize. Like they really upgraded their secondary. Trey White is a great young player. All the Jalen Ramsey runs his mouth, but if you look at the Pro Football Focus cornerback ratings, they're basically even. They got Trey White ranked as the third best cornerback in football right now, and that he was a rookie last year. I mean, the Bills knocked it out of the park with this kid. So the kid out of LSU, he's a serious top elite fucking cornerback. So teams like realized that quickly last year, and they started throwing to the other side of the field all the time. So the Bills realized we got to upgrade the other side of the field because no one wants to throw White. So they brought in Vontae Davis. They got Micah Hyde. Who's a little older but brings some experience. But it's a very solid 1-2 cornerback combination to have with Vontae Davis and Trey White. Like, you know what I mean? Like, honest, I don't know what you guys think about it. I'll tell you what right now. I think the odds are going to go up. I think the number will go up to like 8, 8.5, might even continue to climb. The cameraman making sure he's getting every ass shot in here. What are you, Bill Clinton? Bill Clinton's working the camera tonight. See, this is what I'm talking about. They run the ball. Just get it to their skill players. What did I say earlier? There's that little kid I was talking about earlier. They don't stick with things. Fuck. Yeah, except I don't know if they're going to be able to score. I don't know if they're going to be able to score. It's one of these deals. Like, well, if you have FSU right now, you're like, man, you better run it all the way to the end zone. Like we've seen this all day. Like they're going to go backwards. You're going to see. Like the first play when they come back here, they'll get like a 10-yard holding penalty. Next thing you know, they'll miss. Like that kid needed to get into the end zone. I have serious doubts they'll be able to punch this in. I did not intentionally pan the camera on that woman. The amount of time, and like I saw a thing in the NFL, the amount of time the cheerleaders are on TV per game is way less than it used to be. I think it was like 30 seconds type thing. You know, it's like 2 seconds there, 2 seconds there once in a while. It's like 30 to 45 seconds max that the cheerleaders were on TV during an NFL game. Used to be, they used to show it like every break almost. So listen, I think the spread will go up because I think the casual bettor will say, "Oh, Nate Peterman sucks. I saw you threw five, and that's the guy that threw five interceptions." People are generally negative about the Buffalo Bills for the most part. I see Politico wrote an article today saying that Timothy McVeigh blew up the fucking Oklahoma City building because of the Buffalo Bills. I'm not even exact. Like, yeah. There's an article in Politico today. There's a serious article in Politico. Where is it? John McCain, John McCain, John McCain, John McCain. Here, I'll find it. Hey, here it is. Political. How football fed Timothy McVeigh's despair. The Oklahoma City Bomber was once a promising young Gulf War veteran. He slid into isolation, and the extremism happened to dovetail with the fate of his beloved Buffalo Bills. I'm dead serious. I don't. I'm like, what the fuck are you guys talking about? Like, really? We're blaming the fucking Bills now for like terrorist attacks? And I hate to say it, but fucking that fucking kid that shot up everyone at the Madden shit seemed to be a Bills fan. I saw him wearing a Bills thing, and I thought, oh, maybe just because he took the Bills in like a video tournament or something. But no, like almost every picture I ever saw of that kid, that shooter, he was always wearing Bill shit. I don't know what it is with my teams. Fucking, I got that kid. This fucking I didn't know McVeigh was a Bills fan. McVeigh was a Bills fan. We got OJ. I'm a Michigan fan. The Unabomber fucking actually did go off because of the University of Michigan. I told you they're going to go backwards. They got to the 5-yard line. They lost 5 yards. Like, I told you this. I saw this coming. Yeah, the Unabomber was actually he was a student in Michigan, and he was going to be like a professor, an assistant professor, like as a younger kid. But I don't know. He didn't get the job. He didn't get the job. He felt that they fucked him, and then he moved to the woods and started fucking sending bombs to fucking universities. So this is from Politico. The Buffalo Bills were the best. This was in 1990, 91, 92, and 93. For 4 years, they crushed almost every other team. Total domination. The Bills didn't lose a single playoff game at home for 6 seasons. All right. It's basically a whole article on the Bills. And it's actually kind of a dumb article, too, because I didn't read it in full, but I read a lot of it. So for Politico, it's all about like the Bills story. The Bills overcame injuries to win 13 games to get to the Super Bowl again. They lost again. Boom, boom, boom. All right. So they go through how the Buffalo Bills fucking crushed their fans. And I remember this, all right? It crushed me too. I'm actually the same age as McVay. I'm looking right now at the story. So it was disappointing. I'm not going to lie. I was younger too. I took this shit more seriously. Like when they lost the first game to the Giants, I was pissed off, but I was more like, can you believe it? They missed the field goal, right? It was one of those, what are you going to do? He missed the field goal. Like, it was frustrating, but I sort of was like, we'll be back to the Super Bowl again. We're pretty good. And so I wasn't surprised they made it back the next year. I've told the story a million times. The Bills lost 4 Super Bowls. The ones that pissed me off the most was the Super Bowl II and Super Bowl IV. The second one to the Redskins really angered me. That was the one that's the one I took the hardest. That one like really pissed me off. I lost a lot of money on that game. I bet a lot, and like that was my biggest bet of my time in my life. I put $18,000 on the Super Bowl. Thank God I had a bunch of props. I hit a bunch of props in the game to save my ass. I also had the over in the game. I think I had 10,000 on the Bills. No, I had 8,000 on the Bills, or like I had more on the Bills than the over, a little bit more. I should have went the other way around, but I didn't. And I had a bunch of props. Fuck, I put big money on those props in those days too. Like I remember I had like $1,000 Andre Reed prop that I lost. It was late in the game. I needed one more reception from Andre Reed and fucking Darrell Green, that motherfucker. Hall of Famer Darrell Green. The game was late. They were up by like 13 or something. And Andre Reed kept beating him. Fuck. So Reed kept getting open, but he kept just pass interfering. And he did it like twice on the last drive, one of the drives. It was so frustrating. So anyways, then the third one, they got blown out by the Cowboys. That one I sort of saw coming. Like, I didn't even bet that much on that one. Like, even by my standards, I didn't bet that much. I was like, man, we just, no. I was like, we're not beating the Dallas Cowboys. So I didn't expect to win against Irvin Smith and Troy Aikman. I didn't expect to lose 58-17 or whatever it was, but I told you guys Florida State wouldn't score if they didn't get the touchdown on the run. Oh, now they fumbled it. I called this. I told you. You can't make that up, guys. Like, really? And look at Taggart. He's like this. He's like a fan. Like, you guys are unprepared. Like, what the fuck are you doing, man? I told you. I said this. I said, don't you get the feeling they won't put it in? He needs to run it in. What's up, T-Dubs, Peg? Thanks for the kind words, buddy. Yeah, I did. I did win big. Listen, Wally George, I won a ton of money in the Bills in those playoffs. Like the guy said in the article, they never lost. Fuck. Like for 4 straight years, the Bills won every playoff game except the Super Bowl, right? So, like the first Super Bowl, I was in Hollywood. I didn't have that much money on it. I was betting with a bookie there, and I didn't have that much money. I think I had like $700 on the game. Like I would have remembered. Like it was more of a fan angerdom. I had like $700 on the game, I think. I did have a teaser though. I was like, I did have the Bills on the money line too. Like I got screwed, but the Redskin game, I was really crazy. I was in Montreal and I was betting with a bookie, and I went crazy on that game. Oh, I bet it online. I bet it with a bookie. The Cowboys, the third one, I didn't really bet that much. I did, but I didn't get killed on it because I was worried. And then the fourth one, I bet them pretty big again. That was the one that pissed me off too. I knew they weren't going to make it back to a 5th Super Bowl, right? So, like even the players said it. They were like, "This is it. We're not like it's impossible to make it to 5 straight Super Bowls." So we got to win this one. And if anyone remembers, if you're old, you remember that game. The Bills were winning at the half, 13-6. That's what was painful. In the 4th Super Bowl, in the first half, it was the year after the Cowboys beat them and killed them. The fucking Bills were winning 13-6 at the half, man. They did everything right. It was like, I remember at halftime thinking, fuck, man, Don't fuck this up. Like, we got this. We got this. Like, you guys did everything right. We got this, you know? The Cowboys were shaky in that Super Bowl, in the fourth one. Like, the Bills were on them. And it was the second half. Fuck. It was like midway through the third quarter in the second half. The Bills had the ball. The Bills were fucking moving the ball at midfield. And basically, if they would have went up 20-6, they probably win the game. And they fumbled it. I think it was Kenneth Davis, Thurman Thomas's backup. Thomas fucking couldn't find his helmet. Remember? Thurman Thomas couldn't find his helmet on the sideline. Fuck. He's like, they got the ball back. He's like, where's my fucking helmet? And they were like, all right, put Davis in. And then he fumbled, fuck. And it got returned for like a touchdown or like to the 2-yard line, and they scored. Next thing you know, it was 13-13. The momentum changed. We lost 30-13. It was fucking frustrating. So after that one, I was depressed. Like that was the one where I was like, yeah, it's pretty depressing. I remember I was wearing a Buffalo Bill jacket. I was in a restaurant like a few days after the Super Bowl, and somebody said something to me. Oh, how can you be a Bill, man? I nearly fucking killed the guy. Like, I nearly smashed the guy in the face with like a chair. Fuck. I was that pissed off. But so anyways, yeah, the Bills and the Raptors are the same. You're right, Truth. It's painful. So anyways, so they're talking about the Bills losing. So this is from the article about Timothy McVeigh. Given all of this, it's easy to imagine how a 24-year-old Buffalonian, a young man who felt his life was falling apart, whose ties to the social contract had been severed, and he recently suffered a nervous breakdown and seriously considered suicide, was almost certainly suffering from PTSD, although he was a decorated veteran of the recent Gulf War. He was now working as a poorly paid security guard on the graveyard shift at the Buffalo Zoo, with side gigs as a rent-a-cop at local pro wrestling matches and monster truck rallies. He was therefore so short of money he didn't even have a phone. He spent his free time nursing conspiracy theories about the government and writing ominous letters to the editor of the local paper. It's easy to imagine how this young man might have been lured into making a bad decision into betting all the little money that he had and then some on the Buffalo Bills. So basically they're saying, this guy is saying, since Timothy McVeigh bet his money on the Bills in the last Super Bowl against the Cowboys, that it set him off. I'm dead serious. They're saying that was the final straw. The young man is Timothy McVeigh. He was a Buffalo Bills superfan. Buffalo Bill was a religion for him. He grew up in Lockport, a rural town on the edge of Buffalo. McVeigh was part of the fans that ran onto the field to tear down the goalpost after their game against the Dolphins in the playoffs. Immediately afterwards, McVeigh, there's a touchdown. Immediately after, McVeigh went to the Gulf, where he established himself as a rising soldier. All right, so it says about how he went through the Iraq War. It really fucked with him. McVeigh saw abandoned corpses being eaten by dogs. He listened to the U.S. military lie about murdering civilians. And himself, he became a killer. McVeigh once took out an Iraqi soldier with a miraculous shot from like a mile away. He watched through his scope. The man's head and body burst. McVeigh hated all of it. He didn't feel like a hero. Even though he was awarded 5 medals, he fucking hated being in the army, blah, blah, and he hated the war. He then tried out for the special forces, but didn't make it. After 3 years in Iraq and 2.5 years, 3 years in Iraq, at age 24, He was a washed-up war hero with nothing going for him. No community connections, no meaningful way of moving forward. So McVay called his bookie and wagered $1,000 on the Super Bowl. Like, it's more an article about the Super Bowl. Like, I don't know, like, so this is what he says here. This is in the article. After McVay returned home from the Gulf Wars, Bill's fandom was one of the few positive social networks he's able to plug back into. Its failure was devastating to him and everyone else in the area. So this is what the part I don't understand. The guy writes, to this day, even well-adjusted Buffalonians walk around imagining alternative lives in which their team actually won 4 Super Bowls in a row. Like, no, they don't. No, like, and the guy fucking got crazy and blew shit up, not because of the Buffalo Bills. Like, the guy had PTSD. He was seriously scarred from the war. He did this because he thought that the Branch Davidians in Waco, Texas got screwed over. It was on the anniversary of the Branch Davidians. That didn't do the Buffalo Bills. Like, I don't know. This one of the ridiculous articles. I'm baffled by this. Yeah, it's annoying, but my for some reason it's on a I get kicked off at 11 at night. Yeah, it's a weird time. What's up, Sonny Vega? Holy fuck, another interception. Like, what did I say earlier? Like, Florida State's plan is just let's just Al Strachan, I said, Nike's a shoe company. They tell you, I'm not sure how this hurts them. So a few old people not going to buy Nike golf balls now. Alan Strachan says, not to be picky, but Nike doesn't make golf balls. Which actually they do. Actually, they do. And I just forwarded him the actual site with them selling golf balls. Yeah, the Panthers better back it up now. Yeah, I know. All right, so as I was saying, all right. Yeah. So as I was saying, it's a pretty ridiculous article here. I don't know. I mean, obviously, this guy. This guy obviously knows. I mean, he's done research. The article is written. Sam Anderson, New York Times Magazine staff writer, author of Boomtown, the fantastical saga of Oklahoma City, its chaotic founding, its prolonged basketball team, the dream of becoming a world-class metropolis. So the guy's like an Oklahoma City expert or something. But like I said, I don't dispute that Timothy McVeigh was upset that the Bills lost 4 Super Bowls in a row. Yet I think it's a stretch to state that it was the Bills that put him over the top. It was Waco, Texas that put him over the top. It was Koresh and the Branch Davidians and stuff that put him over the top. It was the war and it was everything else. Like, and did any other Buffalo Bills fans get put over the top to this? Like, and that's a whole other story too. I don't know how we pulled this off alone, but anyways. I mean, the guy didn't even have a phone. Fucking, he was able to figure out, like, I don't know. All this to say, see you later, Roger, Roger. Roger, Roger. All this to say that I think that the 7.5 might be a little high for the Ravens and the Bills. Yeah, Nate Peterman is starting. I get it. But even though Nate Peterman is starting, the fact remains that the Buffalo Bill defense is good defense. The Buffalo Bill defense is a good defense, and it should be a lower scoring game. The total's 40.5. Cincinnati Bengals open up at the Indianapolis Colts. Colts lay 3. Over under 47. This is a tricky game, this game. You figure that the Colts with Andrew Luck, can Andrew Luck put them over the top? It's amazing, isn't it? Fuck. If FSU, if that kid scores the touchdown, it's 17-10 with about 7 minutes left. And it's a completely different atmosphere. If they don't score, now it's 24-3 game over. The Houston Texans get 6 in New England. I like the Texans. Listen, it's tough picking. No one's ever gotten rich betting against the Patriots. But laying 6 it's a lot of points with a Deshaun Watson-led Texans team. We know Deshaun Watson in that offense was explosive last year when he played. There's always going to be trepidation in the first game of the year. You never really know. He was injured. The Jaguars lay 3 at the New York Giants. Another tough game. Yeah, the Jaguars are a better team than the Giants are, but the Jags, came to New York last year and went to overtime against the Jets. Giant Stadium's going to be fired up on Sunday. I'm going to have to get back to the FanDuel Sportsbook. Somebody asked for the review of the FanDuel Sportsbook. I'll give it to you in a couple of minutes. I actually enjoyed it there, to be honest. We did the show there on Patreon. And I'm still laughing, man. That dude in the white shirt with his girlfriend was one of the funniest things we've ever seen, man. That was every Saturday there's something that makes the show. Yeah, every Saturday there's some funny story or some call or one of our guests or one something. But Saturday night it was the guy in the white shirt and his buddies. It didn't stop. It was like an hour, if you guys recall. Just him, I fucking money, and no, where's the money? And fuck, the $500, and let's bet the second half. And his girlfriend, it was fucking comedic gold. It really was classic. The juice is fine. I have one of my tickets here, actually. I got to go back. Minus 110. $200 on Navy and Hawaii, over 61.5. I'm gonna bet there. I'm gonna bet there again this week. I don't know when I can make it out there. I'm kind of busy now. I'm going to be busy starting tomorrow, but I'm going to try to get out there this week at some point in the afternoon. Or worst case scenario, I'm going to get out there on Saturday afternoon, next Saturday. But no, I didn't get the app. You get the app and you got a hard time getting paid, Javier Castro. I haven't decided yet, Kyle. I haven't really even dug in. I'm going to start to dig in. We'll go through the lines here. But no Bet365. No, I got to go to the book. That's my new deal. I fucking lost my money on bookmaker for the most part too. Fuck on that Michigan game. I don't mind. I like cash betting. So I got to go back See Sonny Vega? This is a New York ticket. FanDuel. Yeah, so the FanDuel book is real cool. It's fucking it's a new experience, right? Sports, it's like there's a lot of New Yorkers in a casino in Vegas on any given night, but you've never been in a room with only New Yorkers. It's a rowdier sports book than most in Vegas. It's also a tougher sports book than any sports book in Vegas. Like sports books in Vegas, it's kind of, a couple old dudes and tourists and shit. This was a little different. Like if you're looking for trouble, you could find it at this sports book fast. No, you can't do that to Sean in Toronto. No, it's in New York or New Jersey only. So yeah, basically, and listen, college sports isn't massive in New York, right? No, Baz. I just showed the ticket. It's minus 110. Like I don't know what you guys like. What part I can show you all night. The juice is minus 110. Just because a couple of idiots on fucking just because a fucking couple of idiots on Twitter bitch about the juice of a book once doesn't mean it's true. so so yeah, the sports book. So basically it's at the Meadowlands racetrack. It's at the Meadowlands racetrack, which I've never been to, which is cool, right? So it was cool to be at the Meadowlands, and it's basically next to where the stadium is. Like the old Giant Stadium's gone. The old Giant Stadium's gone. Now you got that new MetLife Stadium. But on the other end of the parking lot, which I never noticed before, I've been to that stadium, but it's a fucking massive complex. So I never noticed the track, before there. You got to keep driving past the stadium and you get into the track. There's the racetrack. And then inside the racetrack is where the sports book is. And I got to tell you, like the Meadowlands on a Saturday night is quite the place, man. Fucking, they had Saratoga, like it was pretty rowdy, man. Like it's a rowdy book. Like that's all I'm gonna say. Like it was rowdy for the races. Now, what's cool? What's interesting about it is now they're renovating the FanDuel book. All right, it's gonna be bigger and better, but they got it open and they're up and running. It's a pretty nice room. Now, like I said, for college, it's not really known as a college town, really per se, but it's a pretty good crowd for the college actually. And for NFL, on the thing is though, they're closed on Sundays, which is kind of insane, isn't it? They're closed on Sunday. Yeah, like you thought, like Chick-fil-A being closed. It's about a 10-minute drive from where I am, Kyle, with no traffic. I got here really fast the other night. It took me a little longer to get there, but no, basically they closed the Meadowlands racetrack anytime the Jets or Giants are playing. And they have it set up so the Jets or Giants play every Sunday, right? So like there's a So basically, it's always it's always it's always closed on Sunday, the racetrack. It is what it is. They're not opening it because fucking there's NFL. I guess like the parking lot is being used and they can't have everything open at once. So they shut it's like for years they've done it like that. There's no racing at the Meadowlands on Sunday. They closed the track on Sunday. But FanDuel has the app, so you can bet still. No, that was the DraftKings book, Jay, and reports with the different numbers. Yeah, see, the only thing is they sort of lose out on people going there to watch the games on Sundays, right? And hanging out all day. Now, that's just them. There's other places you can bet in New Jersey. Fuck, that's just the Meadowlands. That's the one that's close to me. Like I said, I'm like 10 minutes away from the place. Actually, like 14 minutes without traffic, I think. It surprised me how close it was. I knew it was close, but like I don't really know anything right here. So basically, someone told me, they're like, dude, you just go right up there. And it's close, but the thing is, I think it's 3.4 miles from me. But the problem is, Kyle, you got to take the highway, the freeway. And it's New York, New Jersey. So a 15-minute drive could turn into an hour. Fuck, you know? I went on a late Saturday night and came back. Like when we came back Saturday night, remember I left the game? I left the game with like 8 minutes left in the game. Fuck, I was back in this hotel fucking literally with like 4 minutes left. It was crazy. So I'm gonna have to get my bets in earlier this week, you know. We're gonna have to get our bets in earlier. So the Jags and the Giants, tough game. Tough game. It's going to come down to the wire, I would imagine. The Steelers are now only 4-point favorites because I think they're realizing Le'Veon Bell is not going to show up. Minnesota lays 6 to San Francisco. Feels a little high. I don't like the Niners, but Bucks are laying 9.5 to this. Bucks get 9.5. Titans 1.5 at the Dolphins. I tell you what, if I'm looking right now from a betting perspective, the game that jumps off the page to me the most is the Chiefs and the Chargers over 47.5. I actually think the Chargers beat the Chiefs too. I like the Chargers. I think the Panthers, fuck, the Panthers are up to 3 right now. It doesn't surprise me. I think the Panthers beat the Cowboys. If you remember last week, I was talking about the Redskins and the Cardinals. I like the Cardinals in this spot to beat the Redskins. Rams are up to -4 now without Khalil Mack as the Raiders have lost their mind. That's another thing I told you guys, man. I told you that Gruden's a fucking idiot. All Gruden does is get older. And, look, he gets rid of Michael Crabtree to bring in Jordy Nelson. He re-signs Marshawn Lynch. He signs Doug Martin. And I saw a thing today that the Raiders are the oldest team in NFL history. Like really, the Raiders have the oldest average age in recent modern. Like the guy that did the study, like said he couldn't find anyone ever having an older team. They have an average age of 27.4. So it's like your running back is Marshawn Lynch, the backup is Doug Martin, your wide receiver is Jordy Nelson. You got rid of your best fucking defensive player and one of the best players in the league, and your defense already kind of sucked. Like the Raiders are a joke. Like, they're such a scam, the Raiders. Fuck, they just rip their fans off, man. It's like Gruden gets $10 million. They'd rather pay Gruden $10 million than pay their fucking players. Fuck. they're taking money from Vegas. They're taking money from Oakland. They have no intention of winning. Like that's the thing. Like the Raiders, you guys are making. You got a free like $1.7 billion stadium for fuck's sakes. You got a free stadium from Vegas. Like people pay resort fees. Fucking every time you go to Vegas, you're paying for the Raiders. So you got a free stadium. The city of Vegas like bent over for you guys. You're still making money in Oakland. Like you guys are just raking it in two cities at once. You're going to sell so much merchandise once you get to Vegas. You're literally making most NFL teams make like $200-300 million a year. These guys are making like $500 million a year now. Their personal seat licenses are like fucking $130,000 or something stupid, and they can't pay their star linebacker. That's crazy that Madden wouldn't even accept it. Oh yeah, that was pretty crazy in Vegas. Yeah, so the Raiders in downtown Vegas off of Fremont Street, they're gonna have it all year. It's fucking epic, actually. They have like this massive football field, like AstroTurf Field Stadium. So it's like all AstroTurf, but they have this massive fucking screen. They have like 3 screens, but they have this massive screen. They have like stadium seating, but they also have like seats and like bars. You can stand, whatever. And they got a bunch of bars. There's a bunch of hot chicks there and shit. And yeah, they got a great viewing party there. Yeah, so look, so the Raiders bring Gruden back. He's been out of football for what, like 7 years, however it's been. The thing with Gruden is he's never been a good evaluator of talent. Like it wasn't his team, that Tampa team. It was all Tony Dungy's players. It was all like the previous team, and he won with that team. And then they gave him full control, and he ran the Bucs into the ground. And now he goes to the Raiders. He gets control, or at least partial control. And he didn't even meet with Khalil Mack. Like they never, like you know what I mean. They just disrespected him from the start. I'm not Michael Crabtree's biggest fan, but Michael Crabtree's much better than Jordy Nelson is right now. Like, yeah, Jordy Nelson was a wicked player like fucking 4 years ago. Like Gruden's stuck in the past, man. Like, but it's baffling. Like Gruden, you really think that Marshawn Lynch is your running back and Doug Martin should be his backup and Jordy Nelson's your wide receiver? Like, all right, you got Amari Cooper, but it's unbelievable. They're the oldest team in NFL history now. It's like, yeah, good job, Gruden. You show up. Like most teams want to get younger. So basically, what Gruden's going to do, he's going to have a bunch of old men on the team, and he's going to hang around until they move to Vegas. And then he'll bolt after like a year in Vegas or something. And the Raiders will be all old and beaten down, and it'll take them forever to rebuild again. It's crazy. The Raiders were on the cusp, man. They made the playoffs. Life was good, and they just started like fucking up. What's up, Rocky? Good to see you, bro. Yeah, so the Raiders now they're getting 4 points on this Monday night or doubleheader next week. Detroit Lions are now laying 6.5 in this game. Lions are laying 6.5 against the New York Jets as Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold will be the starting quarterback for the Jets. Rookie on the road here. Green Bay Packers are 7.5-point favorites. That one was 8.5, 9, but since the Khalil Mack deal, the number came down. I don't even know if Khalil Mack's playing this week. He probably will, but he didn't have any training camp or anything. Mets are up 4-1 right now in the Dodgers. He didn't have any training camp, right? So he's in shape. They don't want to get him hurt right out of the gate. So they said they haven't made a decision, but I would expect that he's in uniform and he plays a bit, but he doesn't start. They might just have Khalil Mack rush the quarterback a couple of times from the outside. I don't get him out there, but listen, the Raiders did get 2 first-round draft picks out of this, but what's the point? Like, what's the point of just keep on getting draft picks if you already had a good draft pick and had a fucking best linebacker in the league? Like, what's the point of getting rid of him? Then now what? And does anyone really think that John Gruden's going to fucking, like, what's he going to do with a draft pick next year? God knows who he'll fucking like. He'll fucking trade the draft pick for fucking like Andy Dalton or something. Like, who knows? Like Gruden's a nut job. For all we know, it's going to be like 6 weeks into the season, and he won't like Derek Carr. Carr's not old school enough. I'm going to trade him. Thing is, there was no and then Gruden even admitted it today. And when he says Gruden even admits it today when he says that he goes, "Oh no, we were never going to offer him anything close to what the Bears paid him." Listen, the Bears are paying him $23 million a year. He's the highest paid defensive player in the history of football. The thing is, he never asked for $23.5 million a year from the Raiders. The Raiders just tried to stiff him from day one, right? And then the Bears just came out of the woodwork with this crazy deal. Yeah, but the thing is, Kings only. We can talk about all this cap crap and stuff. If you have a good football player, you keep him. You know? And another thing, it's not like the Raiders pay a lot of money to anybody else. Who they pay? Derek Carr? Who else makes money? Marshawn Lynch doesn't make anything. Doug Martin doesn't make anything. Amari Cooper makes a bit, but he's not like a mega contract. All right, give me a minute here. Take a quick break. Got to go to the bathroom and grab one down there. Bathroom break, bong break. 7th inning stretches. We're going to wrap it up around midnight here tonight, right? So. That's right. It's millionaire maker time.
There's nobody that knows Eagles better than Sal Palatoni. He joins us on Sports Center. And Sal, how much of the Eagles going ahead and acknowledging Monday that it will be Foles on Thursday was born out of how Sunday played out?
Well, you know, what happened with the announcement today was in large part due to the fact that the players were just tired of answering this question. Carson Wentz with Nick Foles. I mean, they weren't just answering it on a hot Sunday in South Philly. They've been doing it for 5 months. As you can see behind me, the players are filing out. You know, it's the day before, the day before, the day before. I just want to say to the SVP show, if I can, the defending Super Bowl champs are getting ready to defend their title in the NFL. And with 25 years of covering the team, I just want to break that out.
Yeah. And again, obviously, they're going to go with Foles. And as it relates to the confidence in Foles, the last time we saw the man, not only they pumped it, they won the Super Bowl. So just where is his level of confidence as they begin a new journey as the defending Super Bowl champion?
Well, just taking a shot to the system, right? They did score a point with Nick Foles under center in the preseason. But last 2 games of the postseason, Eagles scored a combined 79 points against the Vikings and the Patriots. Not too shabby. So Foles knows how to sling it, knows how to run this RPO, run pass option offense. He knows how to distribute the ball, get the ball out of his hands quickly. Yeah, you know, Garrett Blount is carrying the football in Detroit. Alshon Jeffrey, the leading receiver from last year, not practicing, not playing on Thursday night. So it is definitely a work in progress, and we'll have to see how they do. But, you know, they do have a lot of confidence in Nick Foles. The hashtag around here is hashtag from Atlanta to Atlanta. So I went on that one.
Yeah, you lead, I follow, Sal. That's how it's always been. That's how I'll always be. Thanks for the time, man. You do well, all right? Before the season begins, we look back one more time at 6 starts last season. The regular season starts to complete just over 50% of passes. It's QB on 31. The playoffs, obviously, numbers were incredible. It was pedestrian against the Falcons, but then the next 2, they just rolled with the Vikes. Good night, Dave. The Mets and the Dodgers, bottom 9. That's Marty Grandal. 9 running to play. Sack fly, that makes it 4-2. That kept him a big over this weekend. He's the tag, Ryan. Just going to do it. 6-4-3, that's it, that's all. So that means the Rockies lead by a half game. That's really fun. I guess it's some full handle sound. This is the new guy storming. Let's just go through this exciting day. As they what they put around flashing. Josh Hader, Anthony Rizzo. I don't need to talk to you. It was first one around the left. The Bigs, and the Cubs take the lead at the top of the game. Bottom 8, Carl Leonard's Jr. trying to work on shots. Is that high? Well, Joe Madden didn't think so. That looks to fix the Cubs, but I can't believe it. Next batter faces loaded for the moves like the Stockers. That's called the ball. Madden. And you can see it too, and Gabe Morency says that's it. Be more constructive with your feedback, please. Now just cussing and what have you. Back to the difference. That's 3-0, and that's a walk for Edwards. Curtis Granderson ties the game on the walk. Edwards Jr. is pulled from the game. He too is ejected, which really doesn't matter because he got a game. Either way, to the bottom of the line, 3-3 games. We see Shep pitching. Against Orlando RC. Next batter, Curtis Granderson. What do you do here, Steve? I'll get it down. Well, Wilson Contreras can't squeeze it, so that meant second, third. Then Granderson ends up striking out, trying to get the run in any way he can. Now Lorenzo Kane, Seashek drills him. Bases are loaded. This is an insane sequence of events. Jesse Chavez is in. You got 5 infielders. You got one of the hottest players in baseball. Hey, he's hitting pretty well, Steve. Did you get home? Ryan
Oh.
Bruins win. When you come home, it would certainly appear so, but I find those bases thinking, I gotta hurry.
One thing is about that super contest is the point spreads will be a little different than they are here. They tweak them. Some stuff will be, the Rams will probably be 4.5. The Lions will probably be 7. My early leans right now in the NFL: Arizona Cardinals -1, Carolina Panthers -3, Chargers -3, Texans +6. Like I said, we talked about the Falcon game earlier with the Eagles. I like Atlanta, but we're not getting points anymore, right? It's down to 2.5 / 115 on the money line. So I'm in a Sheridan, Rocky. Exactly, Kovacs. You know what it is the thing with the Lions is you're right. It's not the it's not the it's not their role. You know what I mean? People are turning on Al Strachan in my timeline, like strangers and shit. I have people blowing up my fucking inbox here with fucking, what do you think of my fantasy team? This is not really what direct messages were made for. What's up, Walter Trotter? Good to see you, bro. Exactly. I hit the like button. Thank you. And remember to support SBR and check out all their videos tomorrow and their content. And most importantly, support SBR by going to the sportsbooks. Since you're not in New York, to go to the FanDuel Sportsbook. Which home dogs do I like? I don't really see too many, to be honest. So yeah, like I was saying, we're talking about the Lions, like Kovacs. Good to see you, Kovacs. Thing with the Detroit Lions is never really been their role. Lions aren't good favorites. They've never been good favorites. Lucas is a Dolphin fan, but I could see the Dolphins winning that game. I'm not looking to bet it either way, but no, the Broncos are like 3-point favorites now. The Broncos are 3-point favorites, Grinch. Good to see you, Grinch. Yeah. Yeah, you look at the Jets and the Giants, so suddenly the number goes up because, it's a rookie playing in Sam Darnold, but Sam Darnold's pretty good. I don't think he's going to ultra struggle, really. He's going to throw an interception or two, I'm sure, along the way here, but I don't think it'll be like deer in the headlights, overwhelmed. The Jets are a physical football team, and the Jets' play calling is actually pretty good. So I think the Jets are. I'm leaning with the Jets in this game. Look, already 1 week in here in New York. Let's go Jets. I'm leaning with the Jets here. If I could get 7, I could buy it to 7, but we'll see where the number goes here. Listen, it's Matt Patricia's first game as head coach. Man, I don't know about this guy as a coach. Fuck. His defense was terrible with the Patriots. The Lions look like shit in the preseason. Like I don't trust Matt Patricia laying 7 points. I don't trust Matt Stafford laying 7 points. Matt Stafford against the spread is not a good quarterback as a favorite. He never has been. In fact, he's a money burner. The Lions are the king of the underdog teasers. Like, you take the Lions when they're getting points on the road on a teaser, and you'll be all right. Lions and Chargers teaser on a weekly basis since Rivers and Stafford have been there, hit it like 78% of the time or something. It's nuts. The Lions don't get blown out, but that's the whole thing with the Lions. Look at their scores from the last few years. Like, it's every year it's the same thing with these guys. Matt Stafford has like amongst the most fourth quarter comebacks in the NFL because they're always losing in the fourth quarter. You know? Like, they're always losing in the fourth quarter, the Lions. And then maybe they come back. Like, the Lions rarely smoke anybody. And the Jets are physical, so I could see the Jets like being able to run the ball. They're not going to do anything stupid with Darnold. They're going to run the ball. They'll play physical. The Jets' defense is pretty good. I could see them punching the Lions in the mouth, in this game coming down to the wire, to be honest. Sort of like good comparisons, like Virginia Tech and Florida State tonight. Florida State, like the Lions, flashy quarterbacks, wide receivers, etc. Vod Tech came in here unheralded, smash mouth, special teams. That's where the Jets are going to look at this. The Jets don't want to get into a track meet, right? Todd Bowles is a good coach. He's not thinking, we're going to go into Detroit on Monday Night Football with Sam Darnold in his first ever start and beat Matt Stafford 30-27. Let's go for it. I think their game plan will be smash mouth, really try to fucking make some plays defensively, get a lead, run the football. But at the same point in time, I don't think their offense is handcuffed because of Darnold. Darnold's got a strong arm, right? He's got zip on the ball. And oftentimes, guys that throw interceptions in college doesn't mean they're going to do it in the NFL. And oftentimes there's guys that will, and there's other guys that never threw interceptions in college and then are interception machines in the pros. Like sort of someone like Blake Bortles. I remember Mike Mayock did a piece on Blake Bortles years ago when he got drafted, and Mayock called it. He said, everyone loves this guy, and calling him the next Ben Roethlisberger. He goes, I see a guy that's going to turn the ball over a lot. And he had all these instances in college. He was like, look at the throw he made here. And he goes, it's his mental decisions. It's not his arm. And you can't really change that. It's hard to, once someone's locked into that, it's hard for quarterbacks to change. It's like people. It's hard for a quarterback to change, who he is. But the Jets don't suck. That's where I'm going with this. The Jets don't suck, and you can't trust the Lions laying points like this. Here, I have the exact number here. Where's Matt Stafford? Wow. Not only does Matt Stafford not cover, Matt Stafford is the worst. He's literally the worst starting quarterback against the spread. You go these are the numbers, guys, all right? You heard me talking about this at the IFBC. To me, this is important stuff. Tom Brady is the best quarterback against the spread. Tom Brady is covered in 59.8% of the games that he's played in. Andrew Luck, 58.6. Alex Smith, 56.3. The highly profitable tier, Andy Dalton, 61-44-4 against the spreads, 56%. Aaron Rodgers, 55.6%. Russell Wilson, 55.2%. This is what I brought up at IFBC. Cam Newton, 54.6%. Matt Ryan, 53.8%. Drew Brees, 53.6%. So for all the shit talking about Cam Newton, he's covered more spreads than Matt Ryan and Drew Brees have in their careers. Kirk Cousins, Minnesota Vikings, 52%. Ben Roethlisberger, 52%. Eli Manning, 51.4%. Blake Bortles, 50.8%. This is pretty much prototypical what you would expect. Derek Carr, Raiders, 50%. Phillip Rivers, Chargers, 50%. Sam Bradford, 50%. Tyrod Taylor, 50% against the spread. Quarterbacks who have lost money. Josh McCown, 49.3%. Joe Flacco, 48.1%. Marcus Mariota, 47.6%. Ryan Fitzpatrick, 47.1%. And then we get to the bottom tier. Ryan Tannehill, 46.8%. The Dolphins are 12-20 against the spread as a favorite with Ryan Tannehill. Worst mark out of any current quarterback. Jameis Winston has only covered 44.4% of the games that he's played in. The Buccaneers have been favored 12 times with Jameis Winston. He's only covered 3 of those 12 games. And then we get to Matt Stafford. Only 7 quarterbacks with at least 40 starts in the National Football League have a losing record against the spread. Stafford is the worst of the bunch. Wow, especially as an underdog. The Lions are 23-35-2 against the spread as an underdog with Stafford, the worst mark of any quarterback in the NFL. Matthew Stafford has only covered 42.4% of the games that he has started. Dear God, you want to lay 6.5 points? I'm starting to talk myself into the Jets plus the points here. Like I said, man, Matt Patricia. What did his defense ever really do? You can't be laying those type of points with the Lions. Sounds like there's a family in the hallway. It's a weird hotel, man. There's a weird mix of people here. You got sort of tourists, ZZ Top. There's a bunch of weird dudes. Some weird guy in the elevator was with me. Over the weekend, there were a lot of weddings here. I noticed wedding parties and shit. Like pretty much every time I go to the elevator, there's like a bunch of people that get on, no matter what time of the day. It's like the other night, it was like last night, it was Sunday night. It's like 3:30, 4 in the morning. I go out in the elevator and there's like fucking Japanese Airlines, a bunch of stewardesses, a lot of stewardesses here too. The British chicks are pretty friendly, actually. There's a bunch of British Airways stewardesses here all weekend, and I didn't hit on them or anything, but I was in the elevator a lot with them. I saw them around. They were all very bubbly, like even to each other. It wasn't an act. Like, wow, that's a lot of turnovers, Grinch. That's the thing, Kyle Hamburg. The Jets, I don't play unders. I always lose. That's the thing. The Jets have pretty good wide receivers. the Jets don't have like a legitimate number one star wide receiver, but they have a bunch of guys that are all like, if you look at the numbers that they all put up last year, it's pretty impressive. Robbie Anderson had like 960 yards. Inua had, like 1,100 yards. Curse had like 800, like 60 yards. Like it's actually, I don't know. I don't know if there's another team. And Terrell Pryor had over 1,000 yards. I don't know if there's another team actually, if you combined all four of their wide receivers that add up. Like it's actually very impressive. Like they don't have one guy, but it's going to be difficult for the Lions because the Lions don't really know. Like oftentimes, if you're playing a team, all right, these guys want to throw the ball to this guy, and if this guy's covered, they're going to go there. You don't really know with the Jets. Any one of their guys could get open. That's the whole thing, Grinch. Actually, people talk about people talk about Jameis Winston suspended for the first 3 games of the year, like it's a big negative or something. But really, is Ryan Fitzpatrick any worse? They're the same fucking guy. If anything, Fitzpatrick gives you a better chance of a backdoor cover. I don't know. Winston's not bad, but he doesn't have that killer instinct. And honestly, I think that alcohol was a problem. He's never been in really good shape. He's always pudgy, and look, he even admitted recently he's going to stop drinking and stuff. So I think maybe if he's in better shape and he's a little bit more focused, like it seems to me that Winston, like he's always battling just to stay out of trouble. So he's not a terrible quarterback, but he's not living up to his potential that he could be because I think he drinks too much, and I think there's just sort of always something going on behind the scenes with him. Yeah, 941 yards is pretty good, Jesse, when you're on the New York Jets. What's up, McKinnis? Good to see you, bro. We're just wrapping up the show. Yeah, you don't need you don't need that one star wide receiver. Star wide receivers are just pain in asses, fuck. Well, then bet against them, Jesse. I don't know what to tell you. That's why there's sports books for know-it-alls like yourself, so you can put your money where your mouth is. We will be on at 9 a.m. tomorrow morning. Now, it's not my show. It's Carton's show. I'm just one of the friends. I am one of the friends. It's Carton and Friends, the name of the show. So I'm one of the friends. But yeah, we appreciate it if you watch. It's going to be on YouTube. It's on the Fantasy Sports Television Network in the United States. It's on YouTube, online, and it's syndicated on radio, simulcast on radio. Yeah, the Jets wide receivers are good wide receivers. So yeah, we'll be on at 9 a.m. tomorrow, and then Red Heat and Rage Radio returns tomorrow at 4 o'clock Eastern as well. Is it on Periscope as well? I didn't know that, Big Will. Exactly. Kyle Hamburg's my manager. He knows I'm on the clock right now. So yeah, we'll see you guys at 9 a.m. We appreciate you tuning in here this evening. We'll jump into more football talk tomorrow night. Our boy Feinberg will step up tomorrow night, and we'll talk that Chargers-Chiefs game. Yeah, I'll set my alarm. I'll get a wake-up call and everything else. Yeah, I know. I better get there on time, Bruce Chad. You're right. So yeah, we'll be on at 9 a.m. tomorrow on the Fantasy Sports Network. Check it out. Get in the chat. Support us. And we'll see you guys tomorrow. And support SBR. Most important thing is you can watch the videos, but really the bottom line is if to support the content, sign up with a sportsbook, get a big bonus with the NFL season coming. Other than that, we'll jump into college football tomorrow, NFL football. Other than that, you're on your own. May the winners be yours. Later, guys. Thanks for watching.